So, hello guys.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Winter Data Meetup. I hope you are finding the sessions insightful and inspiring so far. Meet Alexei and his team who prepared an interesting game, the world of business intelligence. So you can try yourself as a business intelligence analyst for a session. But before we jump into our session, I'd like to take a moment to ask you for your support in growing our community and recognizing our incredible speakers. If you enjoyed today's discussions on games and quiz that you expect today, and want to stay updated on upcoming events and talks, please take a second and hit like and subscribe buttons below. Your participations not only acknowledged our efforts, but also helps us to reach wider audience, allowing more people to learn from these insightful discussions about data world. Also, in the video description below, you will find the link to the talk page where you can share your feedback and award business speakers badge and rate the session if you like or if you don't like it. Your input is incredibly valuable. It helps us to improve future events and ensures our speakers get the recognition they deserve for their hard work. Additionally, we'd love to hear from you your thoughts about this. If you have any questions or insights during the talk, please drop them into the chat, and our team will be actively monitoring it. And we'll discuss these questions with the speakers during our QA session in the end of this talk. So your contributions make the discussions even richer, so don't hesitate to participate. And now let's welcome our guests, our speakers, and share with us the game that they prepared. So, Alexei, yeah, floor is yours.
Yeah, hello, thank you. So we're going today to play with you or to live one sprint from the life of business intelligence analyst. So let's try and dive deep into how this looks like from the inside. And our team of BI athlete community of senior plus experts like Konstantin, Vladislav, and myself, we're going to show you that, guys. So let's start.
So yeah, greetings everyone. Today we have an interesting task, an interesting story to live. So we will act like the main character, business intelligence analyst, who have been recently assigned to world large music streaming company called Musicify. Our task is to live and survive one sprint in the life of business intelligence analyst, and every decision we will make will affect our parameters. We will have two of them. That will be energy and mood. And our primary goal is to finish with these two parameters on the maximum value possible. So, the previous slide, please. We're not finished yet. So yeah, our story starts when you get an email from chief executive officer of this company, Boris, or Boris the boss, who is complaining about the quality of the data in the company and telling that probably Microsoft Access 2007 decision in 2K25 is not the best option. And he asked us to think about what can we do with it and how we can improve the general situation. But before we start, we need also to consider two features and factors. The first is that our main character, is a little bit tired because that's the start of the sprint. We had some tasks that we saved from the previous sprint, and we spent some energy to deal with all these peculiarities. So, as I have already told you, our energy is not on the highest level. And the second part is that on the weekend we have met with our friend, a salesperson for a Batrix system, a popular local CRM, which you believe can be like a key from all the doors, and that will help you to save all the tasks. However, local community are not very happy on the rating of this application, but your friend convinced you that, yeah, probably it can solve all the problems. So having these two things in mind, let us proceed to the next slide. And here, yeah, we can see our smiling face, and these are two parameters, mood and energy. Mood is on the highest level, and energy is not on the top because of the reasons that I have already described. So right now, I would like to ask you to scan this QR code and proceed to Menti. So we will choose the path and the way to follow, and every decision will affect these two parameters. And let me repeat once again, our task for today is to survive the sprint with the highest parameters possible. And we will have the first decision to make. So actually there are three options we may follow. The first is to have a rest. So as we have already noted, our energy is not on the highest level, so probably it would be reasonable to take a small nap or to procrastinate a bit, so the energy probably will be on its maximum level. Another option is to implement CRM right away, because as we have already known, our friend convinced us that probably this implementation of the CRM system can be key of all the doors, and it will help to improve the data quality and solve all the data questions. And the last but not least option is to conduct requirement elicitation and to clarify a bit what can be peculiarities and what are additional tasks on this way. So in this regard, let us decide which option we will choose and how we will proceed. So please take your phones and vote on Menti. So there are 27 participants, 33, great, 37, and yeah, we decided to elicit requirements. So yeah, maybe that's a reasonable part, because we need to clarify what our boss expects us to do and what are the hidden stones on this task. So let's proceed with this option. But it may, I hear some echo. Yeah. So yeah, but maybe that would be a trickier way, because requirement solicitation has some peculiarities, and let us study a bit on these techniques and features of that approach.
Good day, everyone. Today we will talk about the backbone of every successful IT project, requirements solicitation. Imagine setting off on a trip without a map. You might eventually get to the destination, but would that be the right one? Let's explore how to avoid that pitfall in IT projects. Understanding this concept is key in the successful delivery of any project. Next slide. Let's start with the definition. Business requirements are high-level business goals and objectives. And requirement solicitation, it involves identifying, discovering, extracting, and defining the needs, expectations, and constraints from stakeholders and other available media. This process could take place through the software development lifecycle, starting from the beginning elicitation, following the execution, and even in further stages such as migration and maintenance. But here's a note. It's not just gathering the wish list. It's discovering hidden needs, align on priorities, and transforming business goals into actionable specs. You might imagine it as drawing a map with your stakeholders, not for them. This process ensures that you ask right questions to the right people. Let us take a peek on common pitfalls. Without proper requirements elicitation, projects often fail. This might be represented by missing deadlines, budget overruns, frustrated stakeholders, you name it. Actually, you could write an issue on your current project if you encounter one. What is the root cause of all of it? Very often it's because you build in the wrong thing. And why you build it? Because you have poor or none proper requirements. And this process, requirements elicitation, could be sometimes challenging. Common issues include implicit knowledge of stakeholders. It is a cognitive bug, very common among SME subject matter experts, when they know their domain pretty deep and they anticipate the same level of awareness from everyone. The strategy to mitigate this is to not to hesitate to ask questions and write down whenever you feel or hear unfamiliar term or concept for further validation, explanation. Another example would be of issues would be conflicts between stakeholders and forever changing requirements. Forever changing requirements also could lead to scope creep that would explode your budget and team's morale. Well, important thing is to be aware of changes, and put together strategies in advance to mitigate these issues. So as I mentioned, there's no one template for every issue. What you could do, you could just act proactively, anticipate challenges, use workshops, interviews, prototypes to surface hidden needs, and of course, build a relationship with your client and with your stakeholders. Over-deliver and under-promise, and invest in building the common understanding and relationships. Let's speak about your toolbox. Your choice of technique depends on the project and stakeholders and the nature of requirements. Savvy business analysts would have known what to use in advance. And for those who are still in the coconut state, you should seek guidance from senior colleagues. Match technique to your project's complexity and culture. There's no one size fits all. For example, surveys are good for scalable input from multiple users. Workshops are often effective methods to address different topics and populate backlog. Draw mockups and prototypes to validate ideas fast. And when you find yourself entirely alone without any support, depend on careful observations, thorough documentation, and interface analysis. Finally, let us commit to asking why relentlessly, document assumptions and discussions, and iterating fast and often. A well-gathered requirements don't just enable your development team. It ensures everyone's on the same page with the final goal. Let's keep building the right things together. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Konstantin. So we conducted requirement solicitation and made an analysis of all the requirements. And we find out that there are some issues with the system's stability and its readiness to act. So actually using this outdated solution significantly affects the performance of all the services using file. So right now, the general task is clear. We need to change the current solution for better, more efficient, and faster option. And that's a good thing that at least we deal with that part. But to start building a data-driven solution is not possible without knowing the data. So right now we need to dive deeper into this domain and understand what type of the data we need to work with. What are the common issues? What can be some difficulties that may arise on our way, and so on. So, keeping this in mind, you are thinking about that probably it would be a nice option to study the documentation and work through the internal corporate portal to read about their databases, different tables, different values, and so on. But when you tried to make yourself a coffee, staying at IT kitchen and office, you notice the person who is complaining about the quality of the data. So you see like a guy pass by and says that it's absolutely impossible to tolerate such low level of security in corporate data. That's not uh, an easy step to connect API to the existing systems, and all other teams are not satisfied with the data. That's also a lot of data quality issues, and so on and so on. And hearing this, he goes to the nearest conference room. And you thought to yourself that it might be also a good option to talk to this complaining person, because data practitioner probably knows something that cannot be found within just the study of documentation. So right now we need to choose which way to follow. We can conduct data profiling by ourselves, or we can talk to this complaining person who evidently is a data practitioner. So I would like to ask you to move back to Menti and vote. All right, 38 players are ready. And let us choose. And the winner is talk to a complaining person. All right, that's a good choice because a person who works probably knows a little bit more than all this documentation. So that was a tricky part to engage this man into conversation. But then you realized that this person is a project manager of another project who has been working for MusicFi like 3.5 years and knows a lot. So you realize that there are a lot of issues with the data platform, with data types. So the quality of data is not very clean. And also, there are some peculiarities you need to take into consideration. So right now, you need not only to change the entire system, I mean to upgrade Microsoft Access to some brand new solution, but also deal with these data types, issues, and security parts. Also, the main concern of this person is that the level of safety is not very well because there have been a couple of leakages of data from MusicFi. So that's also the thing you need to take into consideration. After that, you have a clear picture of the situation, and you thought that maybe that's time to go to your team and present all the findings. But then suddenly you thought to yourself that you still do not know some parts of the data. So you know the pinpoints, the problem parts, but do not know the general concept of data in MusicFi. And that means that we still need to make a short data profiling. And Alexei, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about why do we need to do that data profiling. And actually, there were a lot of researches done on that topic, and Thing is that quality of data and understanding of data is still in 2025 one of the major challenges for big companies, and it leads like low understanding of the data and low quality to loss of money. Like a lot of business leaders do not trust their data, or a lot of time of data analysts and even data scientists is spent preparing or like dealing with bad data. So what is data profiling? It is a fundament first step to ensure data quality. So doing data profiling, keep in mind that next steps would be data quality, and you need to make your data trustful in future or now in some point in time anyway. So before doing that, it's good to set up some data quality metrics like data accuracy, which means that your data accurately represents real world objects. Data completeness means that it covers uh, whatever real world objects you want data to cover. Data consistency means that across all your systems, data is consistent, and data validity means that it uh, um, it can go through different regulations, guidelines, and other rules agreed in the industry. So let's move on. So what is data profiling? How to actually do that? So when we profile the data, we collect statistics, discover anomalies, and check for quality. That's three main angles of like to get an eagle eye view of the data, of its structure, relationships and integrity, and data patterns. So structure is kind of simple first step, relationships, integrity, and data patterns is next, and ongoing activities, which actually data profiling might be an ongoing activity for big companies, big projects, which will go like toy in toy with like data stewardship activities. Okay, and what are the key techniques? So like first, for understanding data structure, mainly you will do column or data element profiling to understand data type, length, format, min, max values, frequency distributions, things like that. Then relationships profiling to understand relationships between your entities and which data elements are involved in that, and statistical analysis, like to understand the distribution of your categorical values and non-categorical, to see variances, anomalies, and something on top of that, like duplication of categories or like not used categories, and so on and so forth. So this, you can go as deep as you want to make sure that you have good data. And actually, what tools can you use? There are plenty of tools, starting with plain SQL or plain Python, to using like Calibra, which is pretty solid one, or Informatica Data Explorer, IBM Infosphere, Pandas, and there are many others. Like more, some of them they are paid, some of them they are free tools, but still you can dive deeper into what tool does and whether it fits your purposes, and then use it, or just I don't know, get your hands on the use plain SQL and Python to do something ad hoc. And let's move on to the conclusion. So data profiling is fundamental step in data analysis process. It helps us understand our data, ensure its quality, and using that, we can make informed data-driven decisions. So if we have garbage data in, we would have garbage decisions out. So to make sure that we enable business to do some informed decisions, we need to prepare data for them. And I think let's move on.
All right. Thanks, Alexei. Well, yeah. So we at least done something useful. That's why we got +1 to our mood. So we really feel better for now. And the next step, the next slide, please. The next step for now is to make a decision how it can be implemented. So, honestly speaking, you haven't been assigned long time to the position of business intelligence analyst, and that means that you heard something about these three letters, ETL and ELT. You know that when it is concerned, we are considering data project implementation, these letters mean something, but actually you have no idea what they stand for. And for now, you have two options. The first is to consult with your team. So all of them are mature developers who for sure have some experience in this domain, and then they will tell you and highlight all the secrets and explain all the things that you need to know. Another part is to work on your own and to find out what these letters stands for and present them the result. So let's choose another option. So, and the winner is to consult with the team. Well, yeah, that's a good option because we can optimize our time and use their knowledge and share our thought and concern and consult with the team. But right now you are in a little bit tricky position because you have no idea about the meeting. So you arranged a call, you booked a meeting room, and right now you need to talk about the topic you have absolutely no idea about. And that's why you need to be very well prepared. And Kostya, I would like to ask you to tell a bit about meetings preparation.
Meeting facilitation is the process of guiding a meeting forward towards achieving its objective and in an efficient and inclusive manner. It involves planning a meeting, encouraging participation, managing time, and ensuring that everyone is on the same page with the meeting agenda. I would like for you to take home this facilitation elephant memo. Think of an elephant standing on its four legs, relying equally on all. It's like you during your call, you relying equally on all participants of this call in order to maintain the balance. The elephant wears watches to stay always on time. Its large ears help it to hear out everyone, and while it holds a pencil in one of the legs, it tediously makes notes to document ideas and open questions. During heated discussions, similar to an African sun during the summer season, it burns his back, and elephant cools it off using its trunk to shower itself. Finally, just as even the greatest elephant has a tiny small tail at the end, it is important for you to send a brief and concise follow-up email after the meeting. Let us discuss meeting facilitation versus meeting holding. Next slide, please. The difference between meeting holding and the meeting facilitation lies in in the area of ownage. So the meeting holder, it's like a teacher who holds most of the airtime, who describes the lecture and calls in people to the desk. And the referee and the facilitator, it's more like a referee who doesn't play ball, but rather enable everyone to play the ball, play it by the rules and within the time limits. But he doesn't score goals. Why meeting facilitation is important? Well, let's reiterate. It helps us to stay on the track with the meeting agenda. It allows us to give everyone voice, so that someone is shy or don't want to speak up. We ask everyone on the meeting, give them the opportunity to speak out. And the overall facilitation making the meeting more productive and outcome oriented. So let's review the role of facilitation in more detail. A facilitator is like a guide, helping the team navigate throughout the meeting. They ensure that the meeting stays on topic, that everyone gets a chance to speak, and that all key points and decisions are recorded. They also help manage any conflicts that arise and ensure meeting achieves its goals and objectives. Remember, preparation is a key for effective meeting. The role of facilitation, it's not to lead the discussion, but rather to guide it. So when you are a facilitator, you wear a lot of hats. You are a timekeeper, a goal focuser, a notes maker, a mediator, and of course, a team player. In the conclusion, effective meeting facilitation is crucial for productive and successful meetings. By setting clear goals and objectives, managing time, encouraging participation, and ensuring that the meeting stays on track, a facilitator can help the team make better decisions and achieve their common goals. Follow these steps for an efficient and productive meetings. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So, okay, you have presented the results to your team, but the thing is that the votes are divided equally. So 2 of developers said that the better option for our current solution would be ETL, and another 2 says that it would the nice option is ELT. And after a small discussion, they said, all right, you are a business intelligence analyst, so an analytical component of our work needs to be on your shoulder, and that's you who need to make the final vote, because we think equally. And you feel that, probably you have no other option but to study a bit on this topic. Unfortunately, team had a discussion, you knew some useful tricks, studied some slang between developers, but you need to make a data-driven decision on this topic. So yeah, the next slide, please. Yeah, and I need to mention that your energy a little bit slowed down. So still we have the maximum level of mood because nothing bad happens, but you spend some energy facilitating this meeting, being a person wearing a lot of hats and so on. But still you can see your smiling face, so nothing terrible is happening so far. All right, let's move on. And mysterious world of ETL and ELT is ready to be uncovered. So Kostya, the floor is yours.
For someone, it might be a very trivial topic, but for others who are not so savvy and worldly wise, let us explore 2 fundamental approaches in data processing. ETL and ELT. Understanding these concepts is crucial in the realm of DWH and big data. Well, as you might know, ETL stands for extract, transform, and load, and it's the process that involves extracting data from the source system, transforming it into consistent and usable format, and then loading to the database or DWH for analysis. ELT, on the other hand, stands for extract, load, and transform. In this approach, data is extracted, then loaded into the database or DWH in its raw format, and only then it picked up from there and transformed for analysis or for other purposes. The transformation happens within the database itself. The main difference lies in the order of processing data, and it might have significant implications on performance, flexibility, and complexity of your systems. So, what to use and when? You might rely on ETL approach when you deal with limited number of entities and data elements, meaning tables and fields. And when you have a high level of understanding of underlying data, meaning that you have an idea what data would come, and there are some quality gates ensured within processing this data. And and when you have, and of course, when you have resources for such a transformation, because not every company or project has that. ELT, you might be your choice when you work with a large amount of data and data sources. Then there is no such level of certainty what data would come to you. Quality gates are not so strict or missed at all. Also, it's a case for unstructured data processing. Approach is also called load first, understand later. It might also be kind of fit for data science or ML projects when you need to enable your scientists and ML engineers to work with unstructured data. Let us conclude. Like apple and orange, none of two approaches are better or worse. In general, it might be better for specific situations. For your rule of thumb, consider either option when you choose, depending on your specific needs of your project, depending on the resources of development, on the resources of staff that are at your capacity, and of course, volume of complexity of your data. Consider all this, and hope having this knowledge, you can make wiser decision choosing ETL versus LT your next time. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Now you are quite familiar with this approach. So our status is not changing. And right now, we need to decide which way to follow next. So you talk to with developers, figure out that probably for this amount of data, as you figured out on the previous stage, which is approximately like 1.4 petabytes of information, and knowing that all the data is structured, you decided to choose ETL approach and implement the decision according to this baseline. So that was on Friday. So you gather all your thoughts, discussed with the team, you agreed on the general approach, and then you decided to move on and start implementation. But when on Monday you come to the office of Chief Executive Officer, his personal assistant, Jessica, tells you that poor the boss has left for a business meeting and will be on place only on Friday evening. And you know also that the deadline for this project is also Friday evening. And right now you are in a little bit tricky position because you need to figure out and decide the level of readiness. So what is amount of effort and time you will put in this project. And for now, let me guide you into the difference of three main concepts: MVP, mockup, and the prototype. So MVP, or minimal viable product, it's like the version of the product which has all the core features, all the main functionality, but still has some place for improvement or for additional parts. A prototype is an interactive and functional part, but not the final version of a product. Sometimes it can be created on the mockup data. Sometimes some components are not working or are not implemented yet, but still it can be considered like something in the middle. And the last but not least version is a mockup, which represents a static visual representation of a product. It's more about pictures, graphic, and so on. And I would like to ask you to take a look on the last sentence on this slide, which states what are the main differences between this concept. So a mockup shows the look, a prototype tests the functionality, and an MVP delivers the initial value to users. And if we take some more practical example, like for example, we are creating a dashboard, so mockup will be just a graphical representation, some images, some concepts, but not more than that. A prototype can be created on like fake data or mockup data, so everything will be functioning good, but the data is not real. And MVP will be the working dashboard on the real data, but it will lack some, for example, diagrams or maybe drop downs or filters or something like that. So having this in mind, we need to decide how many of our time and efforts need to be invested in this project and take the last decision wisely. Because if we miss something, worries the boss will not be very satisfied with the decision and may ask us to build something new. However, if we done everything good, we can make MVP, so the final version, and maybe he will be satisfied. Or we can choose something in the middle. So right now we need to decide how many risks we are going to take and what will be the final delivery of the current project. Let us vote then.
And choose wisely.
Yeah, for sure. So 20, 21, 22, 25, 30, 32, 33, and the winner is MVP. Yeah, we agreed to deliver the final project. We believed in our capabilities and the level of analysis and decided to present Boris the boss the final version of the product without some functioning parts. All right, what it will lead us to? Yeah, that's a great work. So actually, Boris is very satisfied. He said that he waits for you to take an initiative and be more proactive to deliver the project. And he said that, yes, that's exactly the thing he was waiting for you, and he congratulate you with a great work, telling that that's a good work of business intelligence analyst who elicit requirements, who made data profiling, who deal with the concept of ELT and ETL, who communicate with the team, and who has been very initiative and take some action points to deliver the final value of the products. So yeah, that's a great work. I congratulate you. And what are the final parameters of us? Yeah, we got +1 to energy and +1 to mood. All of them are on a maximum level. So yeah, everything's great. I congratulate you with the end of our game. Then the next slide, please. For now, we finish the game. So great job. And if you have any questions, we are ready to answer them.
So guys, do you have any questions, comments? Like,
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for interesting game. We also took part in it, and we have interesting discussion in regarding data profiling. So, what type of statistic do you collect during data profiling?
so I can answer that. So it depends. You start with some simple statistics like coverage, like presence of data, percentage of null values. Then you go like some statistics of categorical values, like for example, you figure out top categorical values you want to, I don't know, work with, and figure out like their distribution. Might be go with some insights to the business and work with business in terms of that. Then in terms of statistics, it might be interesting to take a look at the relationships again, and you make some, it depends on the level of maturity of of understanding of data from business side, right? So sometimes business can guide you through that and tell you what statistics might be helpful, or sometimes business is completely unaware of that, like potential discovery like angles, and then you need to discover that by yourself, and then go to the business and with your assumptions, with your like insights, and then either uh, they would accept or like say okay to your assumptions, or like say no, that's not the case. So that's a ongoing process of improving and making hypotheses about the data, and then checking those hypotheses like on the data, and then checking with the business regarding the insights and the outcomes of that checks. So that's some kind of ongoing process. I'm not sure whether I've answered the question. If no, please give follow-up questions.
Yeah, thank you. There is also one more question regarding the last question in the game. Why was the right answer MVP? Why the right answer was MVP?
I guess I can answer this question. Well, because for the business analyst position, you're expected to be more proactive and take initiative. And when you are sure that all your assumptions are correct, and we did a great job considering the data, considering all the connections, gathering requirements, and so on, we can proceed and deliver the final value before the deadline, or give some additional parameters and so on. So if a deadline, at least for something, was on Friday, and we managed to create even an MVP of the project, which is correct according to the requirements and all that stuff, that really would be a good work of a business analyst who will deliver the final value to the client. And that means that the more we did, the better is the result, and the more satisfied the client is.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Yeah, one more question. Could you give more details about role of BI analyst? What knowledge is required to work in such position? Like, is it more? Yeah, because during this session, we covered not only like communication requirements management, but also there were some technical stuff like ETL, ELT. Yeah, what
Let me
is it
maybe
really
step in.
required for
Yeah.
BI analyst? Yes.
So, in my
Yes.
opinion, BI analyst is someone who has knowledge in three fields. One is business analysis, second is data analysis, and third is like soft skills. So you need to know how to work with requirements, with client, and with like software development lifecycle. You need to know about the data, be able to do like data modeling, data profiling, to dive deep into the data, know some might be concepts of MDM and some other things which are part of data analysis, and also be very good at soft skills to be able to communicate both with the business and the team and to be the bridge between business team and data, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, get it. Yeah, looks like we have no more questions. Yeah. Thank you very much for this game. Yeah, thank you very much that you came to us today. Thank you very much, yeah, audience, for joining today's discussion. In the description under this video, you will find the link to access the presentation file. Yeah, if you're interested in BI Analyst, and also the recording of this game. And on that page, you can also award our speakers, guests, and rate this game. Also, be sure that you subscribe to our channels in the community and YouTube for more content like this. And we hope that we'll see you on the next session of Winter Data Meetup. Yeah, thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.